If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been walking this quiet road with me for a while now, welcome back. You've found a different kind of corner. No noise, no outrage, no endless scrolling, just space. I live alone in the woods of West Virginia, not to escape the world, but to see it more clearly. And every now and then, a thought rises to the surface. Not polished, not performed, just honest. These are the reflections most people don't slow down long enough to notice, the kind that sit with you, the kind that don't demand attention, but earn it. If you value solitude, if you think better when the world goes quiet, if you've ever felt more yourself when you're alone, you're in the right place. Let's take a few minutes and think. The quiet comfort of being prepared. There's a certain kind of peace that comes from knowing you're not completely dependent on the world staying convenient. I think that's what a lot of people misunderstand about long-term food storage. They think it's fear. They think it's panic. They think it's people hiding buckets of rice in a basement waiting for the apocalypse. But for me, it's something quieter than that. It's comfort. It's walking into your pantry and knowing there's enough. Enough flour to make bread. Enough beans to make soup. Enough rice to stretch a meal. Enough coffee to make the morning feel normal. And maybe that sounds small to some people, but I don't think it is. Because the world feels unstable now in ways it didn't used to. Prices change overnight. Shelves go empty. Storms roll through. Power goes out. Jobs disappear. Things happen. And when you live quietly, when you live closer to the edge of self-reliance, you start realizing that peace doesn't come from having more money or more entertainment. Sometimes peace comes from having enough stored away that you can breathe. That's what I think a lot of preparedness really is. Not fear, breathing room. One of the biggest things I've learned is that real long-term food storage is less about storing food and more about storing ingredients. That changes everything. A box of crackers has a shelf life. A wheat berry has a future. That's the difference. The more processed something is, the shorter its life usually becomes. But whole ingredients, hard grains, beans, rice, salt, sugar, those things can last for years and years when stored properly, sometimes decades. And there's something strangely comforting about that. Knowing a bucket of wheat berries sitting quietly in the corner could outlast you if it had to. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. We've become so used to convenience that most people don't even realize how fragile convenience actually is. A store shelf looks permanent until it suddenly isn't. That's why I think learning simple skills matters so much. Learning how to make bread instead of buying it. Learning how to cook beans. Learning how to make soup from basic ingredients. Learning how to preserve food. Learning how to work with what you already have. Not because you're trying to become some survival expert, but because capability creates calm. That's something I've noticed over the years living quietly. The more capable you become, the less panicked you feel. And honestly, I think there's a deeper emotional side to this that people don't talk about enough. Long-term food storage changes the way you think. You stop living completely at the mercy of interruption. You stop feeling as vulnerable to every little disruption in the world. You start building steadiness instead of depending on steadiness from other people. That matters, especially for people like us who already understand solitude. Because solitude teaches you something important. If you're going to live quietly, you have to learn how to support that quiet life. And preparedness is part of that. Not panic, not obsession, not hoarding. Preparedness. There's also a difference between a working pantry and long-term storage, and I think understanding that changed my mindset a lot. Some things rotate constantly. Coffee, flour, peanut butter, pasta. Everyday foods. But then there are the deeper layers underneath that. Buckets of grains. Rice, beans, salt, sugar. Things that quietly wait in the background, not because you expect disaster tomorrow, but because having them there changes how tomorrow feels. It's hard to explain unless you've experienced it yourself. There's a different kind of sleep that comes when you know you've prepared. Not perfectly, not endlessly, just responsibly. And honestly, I think that's one of the healthiest forms of preparedness there is. Quiet preparedness, not the loud internet version built around fear and outrage and endless anxiety. Just the simple understanding that life gets easier when you're not completely dependent on systems you can't control. I think that's why I enjoy building a pantry so much. Not because I think the world is ending, but because every jar on a shelf feels like a small act of stability, a small act of self-trust, a reminder that even in uncertain times, I can still participate in my own peace. And maybe that's really what this path is about, not escaping the world, but building a life steady enough that the world doesn't shake you as easily anymore. And that's today's thought. Nothing loud, nothing flashy, just something to carry with you as you move through your own quiet. If it stirred something in you, sit with it. If it challenged you, good. If it gave you a little more clarity, even better. If you value this kind of space, help keep it alive. Like the video. Share it with someone who thinks better in silence. And subscribe so you don't miss the next reflection. Until next time, protect your quiet.